Lost World Minute, a minute by minute podcast reviewing 1997 sequel Jurassic Park, 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're here to discuss minute 49 of The Lost World. Dave, how's the week been?
Good. I've enjoying the last bit of summer before I go back to school. For the last time.
For the last
semester
time.
of college. Yeah.
I've seen some photos too. You've been driving your new blue truck around.
Yeah, it drives all right. It's not a brand new truck, but it's sturdy and old, and she gets me around.
That's the way. That's what you want them for.
Yep.
CQ, this is Engine Operations Harvest Leader to Harvest Base. Repeating, I'm calling for Engine Operations Harvest Leader, seeking Engine Harvest Base.
Go ahead, Harvest Leader.
We've been getting a bit of feedback this last week and a bit, and we just wanted to address some of it now. Over on Twitter, I do apologise if I pronounce this wrong. At Rallin Free Untamed wrote us a DM on Twitter saying that he posted up a review for us, I assume, on the American iTunes store. I can't see that being over in Australia, but have asked for a screen cap. But thank you very much for that. And he's saying he really enjoying the show, so it's good to hear that people are liking it out there. As we said last week, the social media is growing quite nicely, so yeah, we'd love to hear more. And like Dave, we got a couple of questions on Instagram as well.
This we did from a username Methwell. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but they're wondering about the if the baby T-Rex from the Lost World is possibly the male T-Rex that we see in Jurassic Park 3. And there's also curious if we would ever see the Rex family again in future films.
Yeah, I think it's one of the one of those big questions that always sort of floats around and comes up time and time again in the fandom, in the community.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's sort of, well, my view is probably sparked out of people not wanting to see one of the adult Rexes killed by the Spinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
And instead sort of, the T-Rex wasn't old or wasn't experienced enough, and that's why it lost in that fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do know that it's possibly not even a sub-adult in the first place, because a lot of the sizes for T-Rex really verge around the far 30s and early 40s in size.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really nothing going for the baby T-Rex, or I'm sorry, the sub-adult T-Rex being an actual sub-adult in the film itself. So I think it is a lighter green, it is a brighter green, but that may itself be individualism, maybe not exactly expressing a younger individual. So we really don't know.
Yeah, and it's sort of, if you're going off movie timeline, it's 3 to 4 years after the events of the Lost World, so that T-Rex should be around the same age as what Rexy was in Jurassic Park and what the two adults were in the Lost World, time-wise. So it should be a fully grown adult. Now, there's never been any confirmation of species numbers or anything on Sawn, and the only sort of real little clue we get is that trespasser quote we mentioned a few minutes early on, where they said they had 7 T-Rex on Sauna, but that can't be seen really as canon. It's if there was something telling on it, like half the cast still hanging off it or something, it'd be a lot easier to say yes or no definitely.
Yeah, well, the male that we see in Jurassic Park 3, the script does describe it as a fully adult bull, but it also uses. But the thing is, while it's a male, like the infant T-Rex in the Lost World, it reuses the animatronic from the male animatronic from the Lost World. They just kind of gave it a tune-up and fresh coat of paint for the big fight. Yeah,
and one of the other things that might be sort of confusing people as well is just how big that Spinosaur animatronic was they made, how much bigger than the T-Rex it was.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For some reason, the RLM model, the little size chart that came with the DVD, it states it's 37 feet, which coincides with the length of the animatronics, the male and female animatronics that Sandwich Studios built for these movies, and we'll see in the next couple minutes here.
Oh, okay, yep.
But the actual animal finished size would probably be closer to 40, 45 feet if you finish the tail and all.
Yep.
No? So they only built like the first third of the tail in those animatronics. Didn't see any reason to stay any bigger.
Yeah, unless there's going to be a scene with a tail. Well, even then, if there's going to include a tail scene, normally it's just the tail itself and the rest of the animal's off screen anyway. But there's no need whatsoever to have the full-length tail on an animatronic unless you're doing full body. Because you'd need the counterweights.
And they did most of the full body shots in the first Jurassic Park with CGI anyway, so they really didn't see a reason to do any kind of full body stuff for the T-Rexes in this movie.
Yeah.
That's to say, however, that Sandwich Studios didn't build a full body. They built the back half of the tail section for the male T-Rex. You can spot it in when Roland has the T-Rex in the cage, and we get an aerial view of it from above. You can see there's like a prop tail that Sandwich Studios built. Yeah,
you just can't see the middle bit. It's under a tarp in the cage.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sure that's because they're probably hiding the rest of the animatronic out there, you know?
Yeah. And then the other thing, just finish it up on the T-Rex, it's marketing or people in production, stuff like that, can say stuff at times that can be taken out of context or just doesn't gel with previous canon at all. Like one of the obvious ones that's come up recently was marketing saying that the Spinosaur spine or skeleton in Jurassic World in Main Street was the actual animal from Sauna.
That just doesn't gel at all.
No.
But that does bring up a good point, because in the Jurassic Park reunion video with that Stanwich School did for the Jurassic Park 20th anniversary, I think it was. It was a couple years back. I think it was the 20th anniversary. They were joking around and saying, that the baby was the male from the third movie. And then they kind of just stopped laughing and then said, no, we really don't know. It's probably just a rogue male. It's probably not the baby from the Lost World. But a lot of people misheard what they actually said, and they get misquoted on that a lot.
Yeah, and that's especially something like that coming from Stan Winston Studios. Like, you'd think if they knew, because they would have seen storyboards and everything and been there during production. So, but no, as far as I'm concerned, no, it's not the same. Not the same baby.
No, it can't be.
Robert Burke said that the T-Rex was a rogue who would abandon its young at the earliest opportunity. I know I can prove otherwise.
But thank you very much for your question about that. We're going to go live this coming week with Listener Week. We've got a heap of questions we're going to ask you on the social medias, and if there's anything you want to send in to us as well, we're going to devote a full episode to it. So just another way we can sort of talk about the franchise and the movie itself without looking at a specific minute. So stay tuned to the social media about that. I'll get the website updated as well, because it's fallen behind slightly. Just so everyone can get involved. Dave, want to get into 49?
Sure.
Rightio. As we entered minute 48 of The Lost World, Sarah and Nick were working on the baby T-Rex, trying to isolate the broken leg. As we start minute 49 of The Lost World, Ian's still trying to communicate with the boat, but not having much luck. 48 minutes and 9 seconds, Kelly starts to back away from the baby T-Rex as its growls fill the air, and says other animals are going to hear this. At 48 minutes 16 seconds, she goes to her father and tells Ian, I want to get out of here. I want to get somewhere safe, somewhere high. 48 minutes and 25 seconds, we cut to Eddie standing in the hide without a clue of what's going on back at the trailers. He asks what's happening, but Ian tells him he'd be much better off not knowing. 48 minutes and 33 seconds, the winch on the front of the M-Class Mercedes spools up and starts to lift the hide into the air. At 48 minutes and 54 seconds, the high stops at the top of the trees. Ian asks Eddie what the frequency of the boat is. He says 15 trip 8, says there on the top of the paper. This ends minute 49 of Lost World. As we talked before about Ian's knowledge of Spanish, at the end of the 48 and going into this minute while Sarah's trying to set the broken leg, he's talking Spanish on the radio, I noticed.
Yeah, a little bit. It's mostly common phrases still, like "más importantes." I mean, I can figure that out. More, it's very important, you know.
Yep.
But then he goes into like "por favor" or something like that. Then he just in frustration quits it and is like, "God damn it, you bastard!"
Carlos. Yeah, you got him on the radio. Carlos, come in, God damn it. And it's sort of, again, another mix of sound here. We get a lot of it in these few minutes. Just the radio squawking or the baby squawking.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a radio squawk, but it could be the baby as well.
I think it's a mixture. That's what I always took it as.
Yep.
Because you kind of hear the radio going, and then you kind of hear the baby going, doing different noises in the background, you know?
Yeah, and because he's sort of talking in the radio, come in, goddammit, it's sort of like he's losing whoever he was talking to through interference or something.
Well, it might have been the storm interfering. That's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, yep. But we get Kelly here starts to get upset. Other animals are going to hear this. There's sort of a couple of shots earlier we didn't bring up too, when she's standing there watching the baby squirm around the table and looks really uneasy about the whole situation. But she's right, if the animal's making that much noise, I don't know how far that sound's going to travel, being inside the trailer in the rain in the jungle outside.
Yeah, but still, you know. It travels far enough to attract the baby's parents. You know?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and whether that's sound or scent that drew them to the trailers.
Yeah, that kind of comes up as a debate later in the movie.
Yes, we'll get to that. But she wants to get out of there. She wants to get somewhere high. And she's really selling the fear here of wanting to get out of the trailers as well.
Yeah.
And we sort of haven't really discussed much previous about where we would be in the novel either. Same sort of thing where the baby's the baby's leg's injured and it's brought back to the trailers. It's more Doc Thorne that's not really keen on the idea. And
and they're watching this from the high a lot. You get a lot of incoming storm and stuff viewed from the high, and it really makes for some really theatrical and kind of spooky. And I wouldn't say cinematography, but whatever the book version of cinematography is, tone or whatever I suppose you could call it. It makes for a really spooky tone, and so you get. Prior to this, we actually get to see one of Dodgson's guys get attacked by velociraptors, and they just watch as one of the raptors tear apart. I think it was Howard King was the one that got tear apart in the long grass.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah, and so that's like the prelude attack before the main kind of the trailer attack, you know?
Yeah, a lot happens because they're watching this attack happen in the long grass, possibly inspired by what happens later on in the film, but it leads to what happens later on in the film, but it's so they can't do anything or intervene because they don't want the raptors on them as well.
And so they're watching this, and it's really all they get to see of it is through the lightning flashes, you know? Every time the lightning flashes, they see Howard King going further and further into long grass, and these torpedo shapes following behind him and closing in until they hear a blood-curdling scream echo across the island.
Yeah.
You know, it's really scary. It's a really scary and good part of the novel.
Yeah, and as you were saying before about sort of atmosphere and cinematography, I would just love to see like a nighttime shot far away with the moonlight and just have seen the trailers on the cliff with the light coming out the windows. It
Yeah.
look fantastic. There's some concept art out there, but it's way too close. It needs to be further away.
Yeah, true. About that when we get to that minute, but I do like that concept art.
Yeah, and because as I don't think we've said it before, but we get Dogson and his team on the island and not the hunters.
Yeah.
They're there to steal actual eggs and not embryos this time. They want eggs, and they go into nests and steal them. They got a little like an ultrasonic box that they use to keep the animals or the parents at bay. And when they go in to get one of the Rex eggs, he twists his hips and the plug pulls out and it stops working, and they get scared and run away, but not before. I think one of them steps on the baby's leg and breaks it.
Yeah. I think that's what happens. They're in the nest actually stealing the eggs that haven't hatched yet, and one of the babies clamped on his boot, and I think as he's yanking away and kicking it at it, he breaks the baby's leg, and that's when the sound box turns off, and they're like crapping their pants.
Yeah, and that's another great scene too, just the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Like, it's written well too. Like, he slowly looks up and sees the T-Rex just lower its head and open its jaws and bellow at him, and it's like, oh crap, it just cuts away.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then same thing, sort of the juveniles brought back to the trailers, and we get what we about to get happen with our major action scene in the middle of the film.
Yeah.
But we're not quite there yet.
Yeah. I will say that this shots that we get right here in this minute are some great top shots of the baby and its striping, and it just makes for like some really good animatronic work right in this moment, you know?
Yep. Yeah, Stan Winston were definitely top of the game.
Yeah.
For this. But yeah, Kelly wants to get out there, get something high, and we cut to Eddie holding the rifle in the hide. What is it? What? Information, please. What's happening? He's really left in the dark about this whole thing, because Ian's just, you'll be much better not knowing. And come on, take us up.
Then I cut back to the trailer.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say before we get back to the trailer, the hide starts to rise up, and going off the little screen anyway, there doesn't seem to be any trees or any large trees around it for the high hide to be hanging from. So,
or we don't really get to see any from the opposite angle, so it's a large redwood.
Yeah.
That we get to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as we discussed when we were first introduced to the high hide, those redwoods can really rise above the rest of the cedar and smaller redwood trees in a way that you get this one tree that's way up like 100 feet higher than the rest of the canopy.
Yeah. Yep. But one thing here too is we get a reuse of the video from before where the winch starts spooling up as well. Pretty much exactly the same little snippet of video, but no, as you said, we cut back to the trailer. Sarah wants to give it an antibiotic and get it out of there.
Well, I'm sure, being as antiseptic as she wants to be, getting rid of the baby T-Rex as fast as they can would probably be part of that, you know?
Yeah, yep. And yeah, Nick says whenever you're ready, he's fighting here, Dr. Quinn, which I think it was already off the air by 97, wasn't it?
I think so.
94, 95, I'd imagine. But
I've never actually seen the original series, but I've seen it playing on the TV guide, and so I've never clicked on it, you know?
Yeah, same here. I know it exists, but I haven't never watched it. But just a little reference there to date the film a little bit.
Yeah.
But we then we cut back up to the high hide in the top of the trees.
First, before we do that, I just want to mention that when Nick is kind of swaying his arms with the animatronic here, that reminds me of the behind-the-scenes videos when Stan Winston is directing the actors of how to handle the animatronic. He says, "Don't fight the animatronic because you'll break it." He says to go move your arms as the animatronic moves. Let the animatronic kind of control the scene.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really interesting way to put it. That the dinosaur, as far as Stan Winston is concerned, is controlling the scene here.
Mm.
And that kind of goes back into the whole theme of the movies itself, whereas humans aren't in control here. It's all the dinosaurs. It's all nature. It's the humans are just stuck at the mercy of nature here, you know?
Yeah, no, good point.
I just noticed, looking back at it, Sarah stuffed her Lucky Pack kind of underneath the sinks there. So that's where her Lucky Pack had been the whole time.
Ah, okay, so it's set up there for later on when it appears next to her.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good. All right, and we cut back to the high height as it reaches the top of the trees.
Mm-hmm. And you can see the treetops next to them when they're swaying there.
Yep.
You can see some kind of, I can't tell if it's coniferous or deciduous, but you can see a branch right next to them, branches next to them, and the trees in the background, which of course was just a CGI backdrop that ILM inserted later.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and again, like we were talking earlier about the novel, is just a nice bit of sort of like moonlight across the top of the trees. It's stopped raining again, so it's got a bit of a clear patch in the storm. But there's one little effect here. I love when the winch actually stops and the high stops, so you get all the rain, all the water droplets fall off the netting.
And you can see that Eddie did, in fact, set up the video cameras on the high height. He did have time to do that. You can see the video cameras at 4 points along the tops of along the underside of the roof.
Yeah.
The high height.
Yep. Yeah, now I assume if they were on, there'd be a red light or something.
Yeah, I don't think he had time to plug them in yet or set up the video link or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just a cable to run back to the trailers or if it'd be radio. Again, it might be what that satellite dish is for.
Yeah, that's possible. Or possibly he has a cord linked up to like a VCR in the back of the Mercedes or something.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I can imagine like 100-foot cord would about do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's sort of a shame because we never get any dialogue or anything as to why they've chose this spot for the high hide. Where it just seems to be a lifeboat for the people, like a safety thing, not an observation thing, because here in the middle of the forest, not really near the game trail, I don't know what they're expecting to see or document from
they
it.
would kind of be the foliage and the treetops would kind of black out anything they'd really be able to see, which is kind of the whole reason they're there in the first place.
Yeah.
And what's nice about it in the novel is they do set it up at the edge of the game trail. They set it up in kind of overlooking these open plains where they can view the dinosaurs, view their interactions with each other, view their daily habits and stuff like that.
Yeah, and yet it's set back sort of at the edge of the foliage where there's some poisonous plants that the herbivores won't come near.
Yeah.
And it is mentioned in the earlier scripts that they're going to set it up next to the plants. I'm pretty sure in the next minute, or the following minutes, Malcolm says that, before we hear the bell of the T-Rex, that, remember Sarah said about these plants, animals don't like them, but we get to that in the next minute. But yeah, as we end out here, Malcolm asks Eddie what the frequency of the boat is, and 15.8 says there on top of the... we just...
And then he looks at it and he's like, oh.
Yeah. But then it makes you wonder, where was that bit of paper before when he's looking in the book? Unless he tore that page out of the book, and we didn't see it before, and it had a list on it or something. But
he's looking at a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It looks like it was written down on.
Yeah.
He just stuffs it in his pocket.
Yep. Again, wet, so they're both absolutely soaked. Makes you wonder what the integrity of the paper is going to be like, or if the ink hasn't run.
Just a pile of mush.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But not a lot happening here. Dave, anything else on 49?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
Contact details are on the website, thelostworldminute.com. You can email feedback to thelostworldminute@gmail.com, Facebook, The Lost World Minute, Twitter @TheLostWorldMinute, and Instagram, The Lost World Minute.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, very easy to remember. David, thank you for joining me for this record.
Welcome.
And we'll be back. I've been Brad.
I'm Dave.
And we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way.